And they are off. So GRIS is officially 1 year old. Happy birthday, GRIS. GRIS is a games as art platformer by Spanish dev studio Nomada. They were up for a couple of different awards at the Game Awards just the other night, so you may have heard about that. They won an award for, I think, Impact, games as Impact. So, definitely if you haven't seen this before, be prepared for some feels. You might want to get a box of tissues for the end. It's going to be about an hour and 25 minutes is my expectation for this race. In Spanish, the word gris means gray. And this game is very much about colors. It is the story of a young girl and her ability to find herself after the death of her mother. And she's going to go through the 5 emotions of grief on her journey. Those being denial, bargaining. Been too long. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. There we go. Those are the 5, and they're represented by 5 colors. Those are going to be white, red, green, blue, and yellow. And so basically the game gets broken down. We have a short introductory section after this tutorial. That is going to be our white/denial section. And then we're going to have 4 kind of main sections. Each of those 4 main sections has a power-up in it. There's no real power-up in the denial section. We're just going to get our ability to kind of move at a normal speed and to jump, which we aren't going to have here for the first 40 seconds after we gain control of GRIS. I do expect for our racers today to be very synced for at least the first 11 to 12 minutes, after which there is a pretty large trick that could separate our runners by up to 15 seconds. But until that point, I would expect them to be within about 1 to 2 seconds of each other at most. And we do have some hot sync going on to start things off here, as you would expect. Okay. And we are off. As you can see, GRIS is bunny hopping. You're going to see that throughout the entirety of the game because it is 3% faster, roughly, to travel while in the air than while walking on the ground. Something to do about friction, I don't know. But yeah, so that's also exacerbated a bit if you're walking up or down an incline. It becomes even more pronounced. So our runners are going to do everything they can to hop and bop their way through the entirety of the game and spend as little time as possible on solid ground. Not too much going on here at the beginning of the game. It's really just kind of getting you into things. Although our first little bit of tech and speed optimizations happened right there. Both of our runners jumped into the cutscene from shortly outside of it. It saves about half a second for that particular cutscene and grabbing that first star right there. And you're going to see them do that for pretty much every cutscene throughout the entirety of the game, saving anywhere from about half a second to 2 full seconds at some places. So definitely a big time save in a game that can be decided in a race by mere seconds. So, as I said, the runners are grabbing stars. There's another cutscene that they're jumping into. Doesn't save too much time on that one. But getting stars allows pathways to be created, and then it also unlocks power ups. So that is going to be the main goal of the game for our runners, is to collect these stars, take them back to the hub at the center of the game, and deposit them into the sky as fast as possible. Looks like Skylar has taken a very small lead here through some a little bit more precise movement in this first tower climb. And also, yeah, 3% faster, which over an hour and a half run really does add up. It also allows you to make a bunch of different cycles that you can't make if you're just walking, because they are that tight. So on the whole, it saves somewhere in the vicinity of 5 minutes. So it is a pretty big time save, even though it is only 3%. Skylar trying to do some new tech that he recently discovered. Looks like he screwed it up on the first attempt, but got it on the second, and our runners are completely back in sync again as a result. Each section of the game is going to end by finishing in a hand of your statue of your mother. And at the end of each chapter, the statue is going to get more and more complete. So you see right now, it is literally just a hand. But that was denial. And now we're traveling back to the hub for the first time. Neither of our runners fell into the little hole there on the stairs. Now, depositing, there's very little RNG in this game, but there is about 5 to 6 seconds of total RNG throughout a run. The place where that shows itself the most throughout the whole game is here depositing the stars. There is randomness involved in how the stars move through the sky and how long it takes for them to be deposited. Also, you'll may notice if you're in chat that you can see our runners are talking to each other during the race here. That would be Skylar Fox and your local dunce, which is Captain Anarchy. Hopefully, their playful banter does not cause any problems with them while they are running. I would hate for them to make a mistake because they are too busy trash talking. So we are coming up. I know there's been a lot of cutscenes at the beginning of the game. We're almost finished with those. After this one here, there's one short one that's going to happen, and then there's some sweet GRIS action for about an hour straight before we're going to finish it up with some more cutscenes at the end. But as mentioned, our runners are pretty much in sync again here, and have been, except for a little bit at the end of White. But once again, looks like Skylar has taken a slight lead again, just through a little bit cleaner and crisper movement on this second red tower here. So we're coming up on the sandstorm section of the game, which is going to have our first major skip that was found by Skylar. And if done correctly, it'll allow us to skip the second to last sandstorm of this sequence. So we're going to have to go through the first 3 sandstorms here as normal. And these sandstorms are long. They are non-skippable. You kind of just have to wait them out. But due to a pretty ingenious bit of movement that Skylar found, it allows us to skip a cycle that we thought previously had been impossible to skip. That was found probably about 6 months ago now at this point. And so the crucial movement for this skip is going to start after exiting this star temple here, after this next sandstorm plays. Every little pixel is going to matter from here through the next 3 sandstorms. Yeah, the piece of movement tech that was found is the Skylar shimmy, which we're going to grab a star here after this sandstorm. And then into the next sandstorm, we're going to be moving left, and we're going to use the sandstorm to push us further left than the game expects us to be able to get pushed. And that is by doing some very precise movement repeated 3 times in a row. So it's going to be coming up right here. And I can see that Captain got it. And it looks like Skylar got a partial. Be able to tell for sure as we go into the next one here. Although Skylar just had a little mistake on his jump, which might actually cost him being able to make it all together. So it's going to be really, really tight. Yeah, so Captain got the full skip, and Skylar did not get the skip at all. That is a 15 second difference. It is a... is this a simple jump and run? Mostly, but the movement tech is pretty precise. But there's no death, there's no damage, there's no shooting. It is all movement-based tricks and cycles that get hit. It is definitely a casual platformer done fast. So Captain does need to jump out here. There you go. And Captain is going to skip this sandstorm that you can see that Skylar is having to wait at. And our runners are now coming up to their first power-up. And since we are in the red/anger section of the game, we are going to get a angry power-up. We call this power-up the heavy. And it has 2 abilities that we can do with it. One, it allows us to slowly walk through sandstorms and other places in the game that try to use wind and push us around. besides sandstorms. And then there is a second thing that we can do with thick grease, which we will see in about 30 seconds on Captain's side. Looks like Skylar was a little bit extra cautious there, exiting out of his heavy. Make sure that he didn't get blown backwards. If you exit that heavy too early, you get blown all the way back to the start of it, and it is a 30+ second time loss. And so you can see the second ability that you get with the heavy, and that is to break through partially broken rocks. And so there are 7 heavies that you're going to do here. 8. 3, 2, and 3. Captain went a little bit early on that second one. You could see grease flaring out into the heavy without having jumped previously. You do need to wait longer than you think you need to wait to properly do this sequence of heavies. It's definitely something that frustrates the hell out of me on the regular, because I like to speedrun games. I like to go fast. I don't like to have to wait in my speedruns, even if it's like half a second. Captain with a good momentum jump off that slide. That's another piece of movement tech throughout this game, that anytime that there's a slide, you can jump off the edge of it and get a little bit of extra momentum and speed and distance. Both of our runners shouldn't have any issues making first cycle windmill here, as long as they don't fall down at the end. Captain doing a little extra safety jump at the end there. It's normally 3 jumps and exit. Captain did about 3.5, but certainly better than falling down the windmill. And Skylar doing the setup and then into his 3 jumps clean. So this second half of red here is all cycle based, and mostly global cycles, but then there are also some triggered cycles. That's right side Lenny right there for Captain. That little rock creature, his name's Lenny. He is RNG as well, depending on if he is on the right side or left side. I lose about 1 second if you have left side Lenny. So Skylar had about partial, little middle on the Lenny. It didn't look like it slowed him down too much. You can also see the difference there that Captain played it safe and heavied on the right side of the platform, whereas Skylar risked it a little bit and heavied on the left side. Both of them did make that seesaw cycle. 6-second time loss if you miss it. And both of our runners are going to still have to wait at the end. That's why it is faster to trigger it from the left side overall. But it is riskier. It becomes a very, very tight cycle if you trigger that from the left side. We're going to transition here up to the second level of the... I don't even know what to call this area, honestly. The sky section of the game, maybe. There's another little piece of tech that maybe we'll see. It's a frame perfect trick. Yay, Captain got it right there. That's called an insta-heavy. It can work breaking into objects. It can also work walking off the edges of ledges. Yes, the edges of ledges. Skylar having a little trouble with his heavy, unfortunately. And it looks like he landed on the platform before getting the heavy off and then having to jump and redo it, so no insta there. But so basically what happens is that the game doesn't know how to handle opening up into a heavy while inside of the hitbox of a ledge or a rock formation. And it freaks out a little bit and it instantly opens into the heavy, saving the heavy animation, which is about half of a second. So it's a little bit of time save, but it feels really satisfying to get it. And it can be done mostly off of the edge of ledges, but it can also be done in a few places for rocks as well. So this guy right there that Captain broke, that's George. He is Lenny's large compatriot. So whereas Lenny is RNG, George is not. Unfortunately, the couple of small mistakes that Skylar made throughout the sequence led George to be off cycle for him. It only really takes about 2 seconds worth of mistakes for George to be off, and then you have to wait for George to start coming back again. So it very much compounds, because now for Skylar, because he had to wait here, the cycle that he triggered from the second pressure plate back in the middle, that's now going to be off cycle for him as well. So it's likely going to further cause more time loss ahead. So about 2 seconds of mistakes are probably going to wind up in being about 8 seconds total worth of time loss. Most likely. Uh-oh. Okay, so Captain got a backup there. So that is a place also you can get an insta-heavy, but Captain went and heavied too soon in the first place and then backed it up with the insta. So saved himself a bit and probably still will make the cycle back in the middle, I suspect. Where he will be able to, it's going to be close. All right, he's going to lose a little bit, but he did make it. Okay. So it's a tiny little bit of time loss that wasn't perfectly optimal, but certainly better than having to wait for it to come around. And so Skylar gets it as you would want it, but he's an entire cycle behind. So thankfully, the time loss didn't snowball any more than it already had been for him, which is fortunate. So we're coming up here to the end of our anger section. We have this giant Ferris wheel. And something I didn't mention, that's similar to the insta-heavies, there is a mechanic in the game called a zip, that basically if GRIS's neck is bisected by a background object's line, GRIS will get pushed forward so that she is not in, so that her neck is not in that line anymore. A nice insta-heavy there from Skylar. So you can get good zips and bad zips, and there is a very bad zip on that Ferris wheel that if you hit it, it will actually just zip you completely off the Ferris wheel and you have to redo the whole section. It's like a 15-second time loss, but most zips are good zips and they save, a quarter of a second or less, a couple of frames. But again, they just feel good to get. So we'll take note that 25 there, that Captain enters into the hand statue, versus 34. So we're looking at about a 9-second difference. So Skylar already has managed to make up a good bit of that 15-second differential. I'm honestly a little bit unsure of how he managed to do that, because he did lose some time in this section here at the top, like with George, but I guess the rest of all of his movements were really, really clean and allowed him to gain some time on Captain, even though I haven't really noticed any large mistakes from Captain either. So I think both of our runners break the pot here. There's a little bit of contention in our community about when to break this pot with these red birds in them. Oh, nope. Skylar is bucking the trend. He's going to do late stage pot break. He wants to artificially take the lead, I think. So it's about 1.5 seconds it takes to break that pot, and you have to do it either now or when you're going to use it, entering the acceptance section of the game in about 45 minutes. So it really is just runner's preference. And so the entirety of Greece is one large map. And so it's really cool from like a casual and like aesthetic perspective. From a speedrun perspective, it's a little bit of a pain because it means that we have to kind of just bop our way along in large sections of area to get to where we're going. So this, aqueduct or whatever viaduct, whatever this large causeway is carrying us over the denial section of the game. Captain getting a nice insta heavy there off the ledge. Skylar getting a partial insta. Looks like he was about 1 frame early. So we're just going to have a nice little stroll here in the forest. This is our forest of bargaining. I would say that this section, this split of the game, the first half of bargaining, is very, very consistent for most runners. There is a couple of spots of RNG, and I would say that that is the biggest source of time loss for this split. And we'll get introduced to that RNG really soon. It may or may not be that little guy on the left side of that cutscene. But for now, we're just going to relax, enjoy our stroll, bounce around on some trees. Good movement there from Captain and from Skylar. And we're going to just heavy our way into another cutscene where we get to meet our friend Macaroni. Macaroni likes apples. So we are going to bargain with Macaroni for some apples. And so Macaroni is a big source of RNG, relatively speaking. Every action that Macaroni takes has a chance for 1 second worth of time loss. Every apple that Macaroni bites into, every doorway that Macaroni opens, all can be done fast or slow. It's also very hard to tell with Macaroni whether you're getting the good or the bad RNG out of him. We did have a race a couple of weeks ago in this tournament where our players were completely in sync, and then we could see them going out and back into sync as good and bad Macaroni RNG was happening. So that was kind of fun. So, and now that Macaroni has been bribed, bargained with, and has become our friend, little dude helps us out. Clears some roots so that we can get through. Follows us around. Just looking to have a good time with us. True bud. So this is a zip right here. There you go, from Captain. It's pretty easy to get, lines up really well. Don't want to heavy too early on that second brake section, otherwise macaroni won't be in place. You do want to make sure that you get your momentum slide off the end there, otherwise it's a 2-second time loss. Looks like we're down to only about a 5-second lead as well. Skylar really making up time on Captain just through cleaner movements. So now we're going to start collecting our stars. Looks like a slight bonk that Captain had. And clean from Skylar. One more star for each of our runners to collect. We can get our second power up. You'll notice that the tree behavior is different. Green trees are timed cycles. These red trees are based on jumping from our runners. Captain fixing his issue there. Skylar as well, fixing their slight jump issues, correcting it nicely. Very safe from Captain right there. I suspect Skylar made up another half a second or so at least in that section just from taking a little bit more risk, a little bit cleaner movement. And now we have the ability to double jump and glide. Although I did mention before that it is 3% faster to jump, that only holds true for single jumping. Double jumping is the same speed as walking. So our runners are going to do their best to single jump everywhere. This does mean that they can no longer buffer their jump inputs, but it does mean that they will be able to jump cancel in a number of places throughout the rest of the run. pretty much every time they use one of those red birds, they are going to be jump canceling when they get to where they need to go. As the red birds are fast, but they tend to send you too far in the wrong direction. And some movement cycles coming up is our fast trees and double fast trees. So Captain getting the bad RNG, which is normal. Skylar also getting the bad RNG, which is normal. Looking like good movement from Captain. He should be able to make the double fast trees. Skylar as well. Both of them look like they should be able to get it. Captain just barely getting onto that edge. Skylar also making it no problem for either runner. Good movement there from Captain. Skylar having to go off center a tiny little bit to make sure that he doesn't whiff and wind up doing a double jump instead of grabbing some birds. And we're about to enter our first boss fight, or at least the first part of our first boss fight. Say hello to Bird. Looks like our lead is down to about 4 seconds now, too. So the bird also will push you, so use of heavy is required to make sure we don't get blown backwards. Nice jump cancel from both runners, getting cleanly through this section. Man, it is close. So another tough trick is coming up here. It is Bird Blow. It's a trick that saves 3 seconds if you can pull it off, but can lose either 7 or 10 seconds if for each time you miss it, depending on how you miss it. So we'll see if either or both runners go for it and how they do on it. Captain's going for it. Looks like he's short. Oh, he made it just barely, whereas Skylar missed it. Oh no. That is a 10-second time loss for Skylar. Gets it second try, though. All right, well, Skylar now has some more time to make back up again. We'll see if he is able to do that. If anyone is, it is our boy Skylar. So we have this kind of long tower climb to go through here, and then we are going to reach the true final part of the bird fight. Ooh. Cut that back a little close from Captain, but he did a little wiggle there. No harm, no foul. Oh, Captain pulls off the new bird strat right there. Very nice. I have not yet learned that one myself, but Skylar found it, came up with it pretty recently, and Skylar does not get it himself. He got the pot break. He did trigger the end of the first part of the bird fight, at least. But that is another few seconds of time loss for him. So we are now finished with the green section of the game. We are halfway through the run. What is happening on Captain's side? What just happened there? Why are they in? What just happened? Captain's side just like stopped right at the beginning. The cutscene is supposed to start and you lose control of GRIS and you start moving up. And Captain just waited there for 15 seconds or so. And now they're back in sync. I have absolutely no idea what just happened there. I have never seen that before. Well, that is really unfortunate. Both of our runners do get the fast glide out of the tower, though. Well, it is certainly a race now. And neither of them get the memento strat there. Memento strat only saves about 1/4 of a second, so not a big deal. It's also very, very hard of a cycle to hit. They are backtracking now through bargaining. And they're going to go through denial and back to the hub. We're also getting introduced to water right about now, in sync. And yeah, so traveling in water is the slowest form of transportation in the game. Runners are going to do everything they can not to be in the water. And in chat, Captain just mentioned that apparently he just stopped moving for some reason. I don't know why he would do that or why he did do that. And then especially why he decided to comment in chat saying that the game broke when he literally just stopped moving. But that's apparently what happened. Not a very good play right there. Maybe he felt bad for Skylar and wanted to let him catch up. If that is what he was going for, then that is certainly what happened. That also would explain things, because that would have been a bug that I have never seen before. So we are full into the depression section of the game. And from right here, for the next 3.5 to 4 minutes, everything that our runners do is capped by cycles down in an ice cavern that they are traveling to. That ice cavern is on 8-second intervals, and there is a cycle that you can hit if you are absolutely perfect. Captain, by taking fall damage right there, has already missed his ability to make that cycle. But if Skylar plays perfectly for the next 3 minutes, he could make it. Although, nope, now he's not going to. He missed his first heavy there on the heavy dive skip, gets it second try. Captain gets it first time. And there is about a full 8 seconds that our runners will have in order to be able to make what is the standard fast cycle. But you basically have to be nearly frame perfect for the entirety of the section in order to make fastest cycle. Skylar, in the history of the game, Skylar has made it 2 or 3 times. I've made it once, and that is it. Both runners being a little bit safe there, doing their heavies. It is a huge time loss if you accidentally walk off that ledge and then heavy. You will not make it through the water and down below. You will float back up to the surface, and you will lose at least 1, if not 2, ice cycles. But we can see Skylar slightly ahead, better movement. And we'll see how both runners do with... Oh, Captain having a little issue with his mushrooms. Clean from Skylar. Although, I do think both runners are still... Skylar is definitely still on fast cycle. Captain probably is still on fast cycle. We are getting close to the end here, where we'll see them probably sync back up on those ice cycles, assuming that Captain makes it. And we are entering into the ice cavern. I hope Captain can make this cycle. Skylar's going to make it no problem. Or not. Okay. Unless that was actually Skylar almost making fastest cycle. That might have been. But we can see them pretty much synced up again. Those movement issues from Captain wiped away. We are going to see a difference in strats on the right side here. Captain is going to do the more common 2-cycle, and Skylar is going to do a strat that only he does, which is like a 1.5 cycle. But it is very, very hard, very precise. Oh, okay. Little definitely error from Skylar there. He missed the cycle. He's going for his strat, and he makes it. So it looks like only a 3-second time loss from Skylar off of his mistake, because his strat does save 5 seconds over the strat that Captain did. I think Skylar exited out of his heavy too early, and he wasn't able to actually jump onto the ice version of himself. It wasn't solid. So we are now in the underwater section. We've gotten our 3rd power-up, and traveling through water went from being the slowest mode of transportation to now being the fastest mode of transportation. And our runners are going to collect 4 stars in each of the 4 corners. No issue. No swim of shame. Oh, God. That was very scary from Skylar right there. But when he heavied off to the right, I had a feeling that he was going to be able to grab the star as it came into the water. If you do that on the left side, chances are you're going to miss the star, and you're going to have to do the swim of shame back to the top again, which is a 10-second time loss. But because he was on the right there, the star actually went straight into him. So no time loss, but a little bit of a scary moment nonetheless. Good movement from Captain. Skylar looks like he missed the star on his first attempt to grab it, but then quickly went back and snagged it. I should also note that Skylar plays on keyboard, whereas I believe every other top runner plays with a controller. And this does impact Skylar's ability for precise movement underwater, because all of the other runners use an analog stick for 360 degrees of motion, and Skylar uses WASD, giving him only 4 degrees of control. Clean star grabs from both runners there. You can miss that and then come back down, and that's a frustrating time loss. You have to re-grab the birds and go back up again. That star has a very small hitbox. But both of our runners are going into the water tower here, which has some pretty fast movement if you can be precise on your controls. Oh, the first 2 were really nice from Captain. Not good on the 3rd. And he has allowed Skylar to catch back up. And not a good star grab either. And we have another skip right here on this turtle. There we go. Both runners get it. Saves 3 seconds. And everybody say hello to Turtle. Turtle is a little bit of an auto scroller. So if you can trigger the animation for Turtle and then do a dive to get down lower, you will save 3 seconds of Turtle waiting for you to catch back up. But this is one heck of a close race. And we are finishing up the depression section, sort of. There's still a 7-minute split in the underwater cave area after this, as well as our second boss fight. And so this is our second boss fight here. It's mostly an auto-scroller. Not 100% auto-scroller. You can save a few seconds here and there, but it is pretty simple of a fight as far as boss fights go. It is also a boss fight in 2 parts with a dark tunnel in between. Both of our runners should have this tunnel pathway memorized. I certainly hope. It's like a little bit cleaner from Skylar. Not flawless from either of them, honestly. And we've got a 1-second difference still. This is my favorite music in the game right here. Big shout out to Berlinist, who composed the score. What up, Turtle? Turtle here to save the day. Thank you, Turtle. All right, thank you so much, Turtle. It's time for us to finish our adventure. So, and as you would expect, basically no time was saved or lost throughout the entirety of that fight. Still about a 1 second lead for Captain. Yeah, this is close for sure. About a 1 second difference right now between our runners. And that water exit right there, just being cleaner from Skylar. He's taken the lead. Both of our runners hitting YOLO jump. Again, Skylar's looked a little bit cleaner than Captain's. Damn. Well, they're in sync. So we are just about up to the hub to deposit our stars. Looks like Skylar got through those water squares a little faster than Captain did. Good, better exit from Skylar than from Captain. See how the RNG plays out here. Yeah, looks like Skylar has about a 1 second lead, although he actually doesn't, because Skylar didn't break the pot. And Captain did break the pot earlier. So there we go. Captain is back in the lead. This is why you should always break your pot early, folks. Break your pot early. Then there is no fake leads. There's no fake time saves. You know where you stand for real when you break the pot early. Team Green. This is the final section of the game. This is acceptance. Man, it is still so close. Skylar does have better gold splits than Captain does for acceptance. Although Skylar has been making some mistakes throughout this run. How do I interpret this section's imagery to work with the acceptance theme? I think it has something to do. Honestly, I think you need someone who is a lot smarter than I am to properly interpret that. But if I were to take a stab, I think it has something to do with the light and how when you get upset, the light disappears. But that when you are calm, when you do have that light, it kind of shows you the way that you need to go to move forward. A little mistake there from Captain. Tried to cut that back a little bit too soon on grabbing his Firefly there. And Skylar has taken a second lead again. So yeah, Captain has played really cleanly throughout this race, except for losing 15 seconds because he stopped holding the right arrow. Or stopped holding right. And cost himself 15 seconds. So I definitely will feel a little bit bad for Captain if he winds up losing this by 15 seconds or less. As that was not a very good mistake on his part. I very much like the acceptance section of the game. It's the only part of the game where before and after you get your power up, you do the same area of the game. Both of our runners doing the dolphin there. Oh, Captain, though, didn't get enough height. And Skylar is starting to pull ahead a little bit. It's about a 5-second time loss. Missing those birds. I do wonder if Captain is pressing a little bit since he knows that Skylar probably has better movement than he does and that he needs to be as perfect as possible in order to keep pace. And because of that, he's making a couple of smaller mistakes as a result. So, and Skylar hitting down at 56. Captain grabbing that first star at 05. There's a 9-second lead through that upside down section that Skylar has opened up. So there is still a very large time save or time loss at the end of the run that I won't talk about quite yet, but even if Captain gets 15, 20 seconds behind, it is not over. And runners do just always something that gets kind of beginner runners of this game is remembering which direction to go when you turn upside down here. And the key to remember it is that before you get the power up, you go alternate side. So our runners are on the left side right now, and so when they flip upside down, they're going to go to the right. Same way when they were on the right side, they went to the left, and then after they get the power up, when they're on the right side, they're going to go right, and when they're on the left side, they are going to go left. So, and Skylar is finishing up the first half of yellow. Got his second star there, and will be getting his final power up. And that is the ability to sing. Touchdown at 12. So it is Oof. Looking about a 15-second lead right now. So the ability to sing will open up flowers. It will also activate certain things that were dormant, like our spider friend here. Captain appears to be doing a little dance in the water of some kind. As long as it doesn't cost him any time, that's fine. And it doesn't. So we are coming up on the bug room, and there is a major skip in the bug room. It is incredibly hard, but if you can pull it off, the trick is called no cycle. It saves 22 seconds, roughly 22, 23 seconds. So if Captain is able to pull it off and Skylar is not, and then there's also 10-second cycles that you could miss on top of it. It is still anyone's game here. We'll see what Skylar does, whether he even plays it safe or how he decides to handle this. Well, he's going for it. He's going for no cycle. And he hits it. Well, that is probably GG right there. That is incredibly hard, by the way. It is doubly frame perfect. And Captain pulls it back. He knows that he wasn't perfect on his movement. And so he has to wait out his cycles. And that is where the 20 plus seconds of time loss comes from. So this is barring something I don't even, certainly not going to say anything, but this is most likely a GG. There is one more star to collect on the left side. And yeah, no cycle was found like really early, within the first like 2 or 3 weeks of the game being out. It's just an incredibly hard trick. So basically it was, I would say, 4 or 5 months before anyone started to really incorporate it into runs. And I mean, and nobody pulls it off consistently. I mean, if you can hit that trick 25% of the time, you're really good at it. There is another major skip in Flower Room. Flower Room is where the star is on the left side. However, the major skip for Flower Room is basically free. As hard as no cycle is, doing Flower Room is that easy. You get the free insta off the ledge there. Skylar pulls that off, no problem. So, and as I said, we're climbing the same area that we climbed before, but this time we're going to go left. So to do the skip here in Flower Room, basically you hit the birds and then you just mash. Just like that. It is that easy. You can see it again. So not as perfect as it could have been on Captain's side. He got very high, but again, he did not cross over. Very easy trick. And we got a little cutscene here, and then we're going to finish up yellow. So this is back into the very simple, chill ending part of GRIS. We are effectively done with the game, especially once we get to the top of this sequence of trees. I certainly have hit those birds and then missed the trees, loses 6 or 7 seconds. So, but now once you reach where Skylar is, there's really nowhere that you're going to lose time for the rest of the run. Final split is very consistently 7 minutes and 15 seconds. Within 2 to 3 seconds of that, 7:12 to 7:16. So Skylar is looking like a sub 125 run here, thanks to hitting no cycle. And Captain tried to trigger things too early. That is another unfortunate mistake. So now we've got about 5 minutes worth of cutscenes and about 2 minutes worth of basic platforming. And that will be the end of the run. About the only place that you theoretically could lose time is on the statue platforming section that Skylar is coming right up to. But even that, I mean, you're talking a few seconds that you would lose at most. Nowhere are you going to have a 30-second mistake. Skylar does not sing to the coffin of his mother. It's very sad. There you go. And clean platforming. That is going to be GG right there. And I am going to be quiet now for the next 3 minutes so that anyone who hasn't seen this cutscene before can enjoy it in silence. And just 1 minute's worth of bopping up some stars is all it is going to take for Skylar to move on to the finals, where he is probably going to kick my butt. And that is definite GG, 124.38. That is incredibly good given all of the mistakes that were made in that run. 15 seconds lost to Sandstorm Skip, 10 seconds lost in missing Bird Blow, missed a cycle on George. I mean, that's 30 seconds right there. But GG to Captain as well with the 125.30, which is an incredibly respectable score, especially given the 15 seconds that you just shot yourself in the foot on. So congratulations to both of you. And especially 2, there we go. Done and done. So great job, guys. Are either of you coming on for post-game interviews? If you want to join in, please do that now, guys. We can talk. Okay, guys. All right. How's it going, Captain?
It's pretty fun.
What happened at the end of Green?
I have never not triggered that cutscene past the line, so I walked past it, alt tabbed, and when I was like, I don't hear music. I legitimately have never stopped there.
Yeah, that was definitely weird. I thought the line was the trigger for that as well. But just goes to show you, focus on the game, not on the chat. Just saying. I mean, it wouldn't have made a difference at the end, but
Yeah.
at the time, it was
At
a
the
big
time,
thing.
it gave him like 8 seconds, I think.
It was about 15.
Was it actually that much?
You were 14, 15 seconds ahead at the time, and then you guys were full in sync afterwards.
Okay, I would have golded that split by a ton then, actually. I think.
So yeah, your green was really good, and you did the new bird fight strat too. So it would not have surprised me if you had golded that. The only thing that was
I did the new bird during the last race also, so
I think I missed your last race,
yeah,
but
I
I think the only thing you messed up on was not even your fault. You had the bad cycle on the birds, which is both of you guys had that. So Skylar, congratulations.
I don't feel too great.
I let him bait me into chat.
Yeah,
I mean, that was not your cleanest run, and yet it was still a solid 124. So I am scared. Thank you for that.
He missed all the flashy stuff, but his movement was insane.
Yeah, like, I had a 1-3-30, and then I missed no cycle. So that's annoying.
Wait, you missed no cycle?
Yeah, not this one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Never mind. I was like.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, I was watching the two of you in the race, and it's like Sky, Captain's 15 seconds ahead. All of a sudden, Captain's 9 seconds ahead, and it was like I didn't see anything wrong.
Yeah,
your movement was just absolutely insane, Skylar.
My movement was, I felt really good about it until we got to yellow, and then cracks started showing.
I thought I was going to do horrible in yellow. I thought I was trying to do ILs, and I kept missing every heavy, which I still did in yellow, but...
Well, it worked out, and I think that's it. Anything else that you guys want to talk about or share from the race?
From the race? I mean, I just had a great time. It's good fun.
Cool. I hope that everyone enjoyed the semifinals, and we'll tune back in when we figure out the finals. That should be a heck of a race between Skylar and myself. If either one of us properly derusts, more so me, because I've been too busy with other games. But
quack quack.
I will do my best to put up a show and not let you walk away with it, Skylar. So
I'm not gonna do good. It's fine
though. So
you do that. What?
So GG to both of you guys. To everyone tuning in, thank you. Make sure to follow the runners, and make sure to keep an ear out for when the finals are, because I imagine it will be relatively soon.
Yep. And we do have a Discord where we discuss whenever we're going to schedule things. So if you go to the SpeedGame or speedrun.com page for GRIS, you can find the link to the Discord and say hi to a lot of us if you're interested in running. I know a couple of people have started running because of these races also. And that should be the easiest way to figure out when the next when the finals are going to be.
Yeah, definitely. So, and if you have any questions about the speedrun, all of us are welcome and happy to answer your questions and help you learn the game. So that is all that we have today for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you in the finals.